So you're not
there's a
going
lot
to
of
likely
rain with
see this, but
Oh, wow.
this
I'll
is
step off
pointed
so you
in
can
the
see.
direction of the storm.
Yes, so
Oh, I actually see something that does look like
to the left.
A tornado, yeah, on the ground.
Yes. Oh, wow. Okay. If I could get somebody back there to record this camera, that would be great. But yes, this is looking at the University of South Alabama. This is looking towards the tornado, so looking north towards the tornado here. And now it is a confirmed tornado, according to the National Weather Service. They saw a debris signature on radar. We're also, it looks like we're seeing it here on the University of South Alabama cameras, top Hancock Whitney Stadium.
I'm fairly confident that that is exactly what we're looking at there on the left-hand side of your screen.
I agree, and it is rain wrapped, which means that there's a lot of rain with this storm, so it's not a super clear picture, but I do think that is what we are seeing. So if you are in the path of this storm, you've got to get in your tornado safe place. This is a confirmed tornado. That means it's ongoing right now. You've got to take this seriously. You've got to get in that tornado safe place pretty soon, and that means Satsuma, that means Saraland. If you're along Highway 43, you've got to get in that safe place. If you are along I-65, you know somebody driving on I-65 between downtown Mobile and Sims, just be sure that you tell them, got to get off the interstate, get to a building as soon as possible. We're going to try to zoom in on this for you here, see if we can get a view, because there's definitely a raindrop over there, John.
Yep.
On the lens. That looks a little incriminating, but
there was some circulation there in the clouds earlier.
There was for sure. Keep an eye on that. Let me know if we need to go back to it. We'll go back to the radar here, and let me get rid of our cameras here. Let's go back. We've got reflectivity. Okay. So again, if you're just joining us here, we are on TV for a tornado warning. This is for Mobile County. This includes a lot of populated areas, Alpine Hills up towards Chickasaw, Saraland, Satsuma, Creola as well, Pritchard, just north of Crichton. At this time, we are still seeing a pretty, here, let me see, a pretty intense signature with this. See if I can.
We are, and it looks like it's approaching Chickasaw Park, maybe the University of Mobile. Kind of hard to tell from this perspective, but yes.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit messier, which is good to see, but we're going to have to watch the trends here because it did weaken over the airport, and then we saw an uptick in that intensity. So that is something that we're going to be watching. It looks like it has now crossed Moffett Road, so it's at the northeast side of Moffett Road here. What we're looking at is where these reds and greens are really close together. This indicates rotation. We call this storm relative velocity. That's just a fancy word for storm winds. We're looking at the winds inside of the storm, and this indicates winds moving in different directions, which means spinning, which means rotation. So that's what the National Weather Service was looking at as far as a tornado warning goes. John, do we have an update?
We do. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Mobile County. The tornado warning, let's see here. Still in effect, I believe, but this includes central and west central Baldwin counties as well.
They're just expanding
the severe
that.
thunderstorm warning.
Okay, yeah, they just expanded the severe thunderstorm warning. And like I was saying, if you're not in the path of this tornado warning, you're in the path of damaging straight line winds. If you are in south of I-10, south of Highway 43 as well, you are in the path of these Doppler storm winds that are damaging around 60 miles per hour in this line of storms that stretches from Creola through Saraland, through downtown Mobile, and into the Fowl River area here, the watershed there. This is about to cross Mobile Bay, so we're going to have to see what happens as it crosses Mobile Bay, but the National Weather Service did go ahead and extend that severe thunderstorm warning for winds over 60 miles per hour towards Daphne, Fairhope, Loxley. That's an early heads up for you guys, but we'll get back to this tornado warning here, where even on radar, we are seeing a signature, which we don't always see, especially in our area. They're typically rain wrapped, it's hard to see, but this hook that you see here, that is the rotation. And we'll get you back down to street level here. It does look like this signature is at the bottom end of this warning here. So it's past Highway 98. It is heading towards Lott Road. Ashley Oaks, Highway 45. So Highway 45 is what goes to the northwest towards Mississippi. That's where this is headed. Ashley Oaks, Whistler, Chickasaw, towards the I-65 corridor. Let me see. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. So where 65 crosses 45, where that intersects, that's where we're seeing this move pretty quickly. It's moving at a good clip at around 25 miles per hour. Let me just check this product just for my own knowledge. Okay, that has weakened just a bit, but we're again going to keep watching the trends. If you're just joining us, we are interrupting our own newscast, News 5 at 9, because we do have a tornado warning in place for Mobile County. This is central, heading towards northeastern Mobile County. I'll zoom out here. You can kind of see it stretches from Alpine Hills, basically the Moffett Road area, all the way northeast near Satsuma, Creola, Celeste, Chickasaw, across Highway 43 and into the River Delta there. So that's kind of the all-encompassing warning, and it's blinking because it is a confirmed tornado. I do believe, and I saw it too, that the National Weather Service saw a debris signature on our radar, which means that it's kicking up debris, which means it was a tornado or rotation on the ground. So this is a confirmed tornado. And we'll get you back down to street level, crossing Moffett Road already, so it crossed Highway 98. It is now approaching, got in a new scan there, looking a little messier, but still indicating rotation with these reds and greens really close together. So this is approaching St. Stephen's Road, Highway 45. Those are the same road. Lott Road just south of that, south of Ashley Oaks, Wolfridge Road, Anton Road. John, do you have any, what's in this area, any landmarks for us?
Yeah, let's see here. Well, this would be moving right toward Saraland.
Right, this is just near Whistler, so along I-65 right, where it crosses 45.
Industrial Parkway there, Cleveland Road, let's see some other things, College Parkway. So I say University of Mobile is up in that part of the world too.
Just checking the debris tracker for us, still seeing a little bit of a signature there.
And I have been monitoring these cameras very carefully over the past few minutes, and not seeing the same definitive circulation that we had earlier.
Right. I am actually going to head over to rain rates really quickly here, because we are getting reports of flooding airport and universities down to 1 lane. We are getting reports of really heavy rain here. So let's step away just from the tornado warning for a second, because it's not the only threat in these storms. We've got, look at that, 6 inches, 7 inches an hour in some of these storms. So this is in the tornado warning itself as well, but it does stretch all the way down Mobile County towards Crichton along I-65 where it intersects with 10. And this is going to be heading across the bay. This is moving east. The tornado, the rotation itself is moving northeast, but the whole storm system is moving east. So this is going to be crossing Mobile Bay, Blakely, all the way down to Daphne and into Fairhope as well. So yes, flooding is a concern. It's not top of mind right now just because we do have a tornado warning in place, but we are getting reports of airport and university flooded, and it's down to 1 lane. So if you're in those areas, just please be careful out there. Let's get back to kind of the big picture of things here. We'll go back to our radar. Let me get to Mobile's radar. Go back to reflectivity. That's our normal radar here. And this has been kind of hugging the rotation, this bottom portion of this tornado warning outlined by the National Weather Service here. You can still see that signature hook of this tornado warning. So it's heading towards Pritchard, heading towards Chickasaw. So if you are in the path of this storm, and I'll get you back down to street level, show you exactly where we're talking about, you've got to get in that tornado safe place right now, because this is a confirmed tornado on the ground. This is something that has been confirmed. It's not just, oh, maybe it's happening. This is happening. Just be sure you get in your tornado safe place. That includes, it's a closet in my house, just because that's an interior room. Lots of walls between you and the outside world. We're also looking at maybe a bathroom if it doesn't have a window. So let's get you kind of right back down. We'll go back to our storm wind so we can see where that rotation is. Again, it's hugging the bottom outline of this tornado warning. So let me do a quick zoom in here for you. There we go. So Let's zoom in. So this is approaching Highway 45, which is also St. Stephen's Road. So that's currently where this is. Wolfridge Road, Anton Street is looking like you're seeing that right now. This is very close to the I-65, Highway 45 split. And you're also seeing this approach Highway 43 pretty soon. So this, no time to waste if you are near the 165, I-65 split as well. Heading into North Mobile County, no time to waste. You've got to get to your tornado safe place. If you know somebody driving in this area, be sure to let them know you've got to get in that tornado safe place as well. So looking like it has broadened a little bit, but again, we're going to keep watching the trends because this has been known to spin back up and the intensity has been fluctuating quite a bit in this storm. We're going to wait for updates from the Weather Service as well, but right now it does look like the leading edge of this rotation is right along I-65 and Whistler Street. So Whistler Street here, that's, let me zoom in a little bit more, West Rebel Road. Again, I-65, this is right at the interchange of I-65 and I-165 near Whistler. Okay, let's see here. Go back. Okay, looking like it's broadening out a bit. Any updates, John?
No, no new updates. We're monitoring the cameras, not seeing the kind of circulation we were seeing before. But that doesn't mean it's still not there because it's raining heavily, as you pointed out, in that part of the world. Yeah,
and it does look like could be seeing a little bit of rotation near Whistler Street too. This is getting kind of messy here, so the signature is broadening out just a little bit. It's definitely still a threat, but on your Opp Avenue, Whistler Street, all the way down to the I-65 interchange near I-165. So this is where you head towards northern Mobile County, Saraland, Satsuma, Chickasaw, up towards Sims as well. So zooming in on some of these areas for you here, most of this is surrounding this interchange. So this is a very, very active part of the world. There's a lot of businesses, a lot of storefronts, and some neighborhoods as well in this area. We got Whistler Street, Rebel Street, Turner Road, heading towards Geneva Street, Escambia Street, Baldwin Drive, 11th Avenue, Circle Drive, Baldwin Drive, Fayette Street. Those look like neighborhoods here that I'm naming out right now.
Many of those folks are in the Norwood community, but there's also, it would be just passing somewhere around, if that location is spot on, somewhere near the Trinity Faith Bible Church on Whistler Road.
Yes, so this is, again, still hugging the bottom part of this tornado warning, but it's moving northeast at around 25 miles per hour. So I'm going to put a storm track on this. We haven't done that since this recent scan came in.
Okay. While you're doing that, if I could throw something in here, one of the places that would be in the path of this storm would be the Chickasaw RV Park. That is an extremely dangerous place to be in a tornado. You need to get out of those RVs and into a solid shelter while you've got a minute or two to do that business.
For sure, an RV or a mobile home, not safe places in a tornado. If you can get to a sturdy structure safely, that's what you need to do. They're not safe at all in these types of scenarios. Even if you're not in the path of rotation, we're still seeing those damaging winds in this storm stretching southwards across Mobile Bay, heading towards Baldwin County too. 60-mile-per-hour winds still in this storm. Could see a little bit of hail too. But here is the track that I just pulled up for you here. North Mobile, you got about 1 minute. Somerville, as John was mentioning, 1 minute. Chickasaw, 2 minutes. Near Hurricane, around 30 minutes. So we are going to be heading eventually, once it crosses Saraland, Satsuma area here. Let me turn off the track. Get that. Come on. Well, we might just have to leave it up. But once it gets past I-65 and 43, it's going to be heading into the Delta at that point, where not many people are, which is good, but we've got to get through this area here, heading towards Chickasaw, Pritchard, Mauvilla Forest Estates, Whistler Road. It looks like it's now right over the I-65 corridor. Let's see, Somerville Telegraph Road. I'm going to kind of zoom in on some of these areas for you here. We'll move north to south. If you're just joining us, we are interrupting our own programming, News 5 at 9, because we do have a tornado warning that is in place for central Mobile County, moving northeast to northeastern Mobile County. It's going to be crossing into Baldwin County before we know it, but this is a confirmed tornado by the National Weather Service, which means it is happening, and this is a threat. You've got to take it seriously. Get in your tornado safe place as quickly as you can here. We just got a new scan in from the Doppler radar. Again, it's a little bit messy. Let me see if I can. John, I'm liking the trend here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. The trend is for broadening. If we could, for just a moment, Caroline, we may want to scoot down to Mobile Bay for a second.
Ooh, water spouts.
There is a special marine warning out in Mobile Bay, and there is circulation that could be headed up toward Point Clear in the next 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, let's kind of look big picture here, because here, let's see. Let's go back to the radar. Let's look big picture, because the tornado is not the only threat in this system. We've got actually a pretty strong line of thunderstorms stretching all the way from northern Baldwin County along the I-65 corridor near Bay Minette, all the way down through the Mobile River Delta, Saraland, downtown Mobile, and heading into Mobile Bay, approaching Fort Morgan, approaching Daphne, Fairhope, Point Clear, over towards Wolf Bay as well. So we are looking at these winds here. If you're not included in the tornado warning itself, you are included in a severe thunderstorm warning. That's for winds up to 60 miles per hour here. So that is damaging. That's not something you want to mess with. So just be sure you're keeping an eye on this. We're starting to see this bow out, is what we call it. Kind of looks like a bow and arrow. And that means that these winds are starting to surge out ahead of this band of showers and thunderstorms, and that means that those winds are going to be very strong heading into Daphne and Fairhope. And John, you were looking at, let me see, an area of rotation here.
Right, your hand is right about on it. It's just a fairly broad rotation.
Let me put this in play mode so we can see how it's kind of spun up. Yeah, it's just east of Clark Gardens. And this is going to be heading towards Daphne, Montrose, Fairhope. Also watching this little area of rotation here. Looks like it broadened out for us. But yeah, we'll zoom in on, this is actually not included in the official severe thunderstorm warning, although it is included in the special marine warning. But this will be heading northeast towards Montrose, Daphne, Belforest, Seacliff. Again, this doesn't have a tornado warning on it. We'll have to see. It looks like a water spout possibly with some broad rotation. We're going to have to see if this makes it onto land here along the eastern shore of Mobile Bay, stretching down Highway 98 and Scenic 98 there. Daphne, Montrose, Seacliff, Fairhope, up towards Volanta as well, Jackson Oak. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And even if you're not seeing rotation here, which I think you are seeing a little bit of broad rotation, look at these winds. I mean, up to 60 miles per hour, which is what the warning is for. So just be sure that you are keeping an eye on the southern half of this line of storms as well, even though we've been kind of focusing on the northern half with this rotation. John, any updates from the Weather Service on the tornado warning itself?
Nothing new from the Weather Service on the tornado warning. We are monitoring the cameras as closely as we can right now, but there are several areas of concern with weak circulations in that line of storms that's now moving across Mobile Bay. So if you are on the eastern shore, you need to be paying close attention and maybe going ahead and moving to a safer spot.
Right. And as far as this northern extent of the line of thunderstorms here, it does look like it's crossing Telegraph Road right now, which is Highway 43. And it turns into Highway 43 as you work northward, but it looks like the rotation has crossed Highway 43 or in the process, and then it's going to be heading into the Mobile River Delta, which is in eastern Mobile County, kind of the Baldwin County, Mobile County line. I'm going to go down here and check again how this rotation is stacking up in Mobile Bay. Let me see real quick. We'll look at the shear rate. Seeing quite a bit of shear with that. Again, shear rate is just a fancy meteorology word for how the winds are changing with height. And if they are rotating with height, that's what that measures. And that's what we're looking at, of course, when we're looking for tornadoes. Was that an update?
It was. It has to do with the marine warnings that we were just discussing.
Okay, perfect.
All right, we now have a new tornado warning.
I bet it's for that.
It is, in fact, for southern Baldwin County, capable of producing tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage 6 miles west of Fairhope to near Point Clear, moving east at 35 miles per hour.
Well, that's a big warning, too. Okay, so we're going to start big picture if you're just joining us, and then we'll get down to the nitty gritty for you here. But basically, we are interrupting News 5 at 9. Actually, it's about to end, but we are looking at 2 tornado warnings and 2 severe thunderstorm warnings for Mobile and Baldwin County. And it is thanks to this line of very strong storms that stretches all the way from northern Baldwin County down through Saraland, along the I-65 corridor, downtown Mobile, Fairhope, down along Mobile Bay as well. And so in this line of storms, we're seeing a couple of things. Actually, we're seeing 3 things. We are seeing really heavy rain rates, so up to 6-7 inches of rain in some spots. In fact, we've seen some flooding, especially in West Mobile County. But we also have damaging straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour. This is a bowing segment is what we call it. And like I said earlier, it's like a bow and arrow. So it is kind of forming that bow shape. And that means that the winds are gusting out ahead of the storms. And we're seeing 60+ mile per hour winds heading into Fairhope, heading into Foley, heading into Saraland, across the Mobile River Delta as well, into northern Baldwin County. The third thing that we're keeping the closest eye on is going to be 2 tornado warnings. We're going to start with the newest one. This is from the National Weather Service, and this is until 10:15 a.m. here. And this is for Baldwin County, and we were watching this before they put out the warning here. John was tracking it as well, and this is a waterspout currently because it's over water, but it is heading. John, what's the movement, northeast?
This is moving at 35 miles per hour, mostly to the east. Mostly
okay.
toward the east. And this warning runs until 10:15 this morning.
So this is very, very close to making it on land. We'll have to see how it behaves once it gets on land. But if you are in Park City, Jackson Oak, Daphne, Bell Forest, Fairhope, Montrose, towards Point Clear, yeah, you've got to get in your tornado safe place now. This is looking like a waterspout situation that is heading on land, at which point, if it sticks together, will be considered a tornado. But seeing a pretty intense signature there. This circle is where our system is picking up rotation. It's doing a pretty good job, where we are seeing that bit of rotation still offshore, but heading towards Jackson Oak, Highway 98. Scenic 98 is here as well. Daphne.
Okay. We do have some new information, Caroline.
Sure.
That is the tornado warning for eastern Mobile and northwestern Baldwin counties now canceled.
Okay.
It is starting to
broaden out a bit.
Broaden out, but gusty winds still possible. With that thunderstorm, I believe it is still under a severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay. So this tornado warning that we've been tracking, let me grab this can get kind of messy and kind of hard to follow, so I get it. So everybody in Mobile County, if you are south of Saraland, Mobile, and then over into Baldwin County, most of Baldwin County, under severe thunderstorm warning. This means 60 mile per hour winds, also seeing heavy rain in these storms. So currently, that is what we have kind of blanketing Mobile and Baldwin counties due to this line of thunderstorms moving through. Inside this line, we had 2 tornado warnings. The one that moved across 65 into Saraland has expired. What little rotation that we have left is now over the Mobile River Delta. Our focus now is on this tornado warning that is currently stretching from Spanish Fort down towards Barnwell, Bon Secours, Foley, Alberta, Somerdale, Highway 59, Loxley, I-10. These are very populated areas. And as John and I were saying, as this line crosses Mobile Bay, we're going to have to watch for waterspouts. We've actually seen several waterspouts this week reported, especially in these storms and in these lines. When they do bow out, like I was saying, they can spin up some waterspouts and tornadoes. So we're going to go back to the Doppler storm winds. It does look like, ooh, it did tighten up a little bit there. It does look like the core of this rotation is still offshore, but even if it's not super tight rotation or tornado, an actual tornado that we're seeing, look at these winds. I mean, still really strong winds moving on shore, especially in Montrose, Seacliff, Atlanta. This looks like it's still offshore, but zooming in on some of these street names for you here, this is downtown Daphne. So this is Daphne Avenue. This is Main Street, Highway 98, over towards County Road 13. down towards Main Street, 3rd Street. Now we're getting into Montrose along Highway 98. The core of the rotation is still offshore, but it will be moving onshore very, very quickly. Sibley Street, 2nd Street, down towards Highway 8. Rock Creek Drive, that's the neighborhood, Rock Creek. Parker Road, Main Street, down towards Seacliff Drive. North Section Street, that's where we're getting into Fairhope, downtown Fairhope and Volanta. Fairhope Avenue, so that's getting a little bit further south here, but right now it does look like this rotation is currently situated still offshore, but moving onshore very quickly. Let me check that shear rate.
All right, you may also want to check Daphne's Infirmary East Cam.
Okay, let's
Can't be sure of what we are seeing there because there is rain and there's a cloud deck that is dragged down
behind the
closer to
tree.
the surface.
So this is a look at our foundation repair camera. This is Daphne Infirmary East. I think most of what we're seeing right there is what we call scud clouds.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which are just clouds that are being pulled down and pushed down by wind in the storm. But it does look like that's just scud, especially behind a tree that you see there. You can
Right.
still see an opening.
Try the camera over at Point Clear. I've tried to see something that's been so rainy there that all you could see was wind-blown rain.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, this is pointed north towards the storm. Up the eastern shore of Mobile Bay. This is our GMC cam. And you can really only see rain in this view. And that's typically what we get in this area. The tornadoes that we do see are typically rain-wrapped, and this was moving over water. So kind of hard to see here, but we'll keep an eye on those cameras as well. All right, let's see if we can go back to the radar. Here we are. Waiting on a new scan to come in. It looks like the core of this rotation still offshore, but it should be moving onshore any second now. Between Daphne and Montrose is where it looks like the core of this is. So that includes Main Street and Daphne. That includes Highway 98, Randall Drive, Daphne Avenue, Beale Lane. This looks like a neighborhood. Potter's Mill, yes, that's in Daphne. McAdams Avenue. This is, in fact, a neighborhood. Deer Avenue, Oak Bluff Drive, Captain O'Neill Drive. That's closer to Bayside Academy. Old County Road there, Wilson Avenue again. It does look like this is starting to move onshore. And what we're looking at, this is called storm relative velocity. And what it's looking at is the direction of winds in storms. And so what we're seeing is winds moving in different direction. That's indicated by the green and the reds that we're seeing. And this is indicating rotation. When those greens and reds are really close together, it's winds moving in opposite directions really close together, which is why we use it for rotation.
Caroline, right now, the latest data is showing a swath of about 70 to 80 knot winds, or 75 to 85
Moving to
mile an hour
Montrose.
winds on the north side of Fairhope.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about too. Even if you're not seeing the rotation itself, I'm actually going to move to what we call just base velocity, which is kind of a more accurate indication of wind speed. And we'll sample some of these here, even if you're not in the core of the rotation, which is just offshore of Daphne at this point, kind of north of Fly Creek Marina there. Look at these winds, these yellows that you're seeing. We just got a new scan. We'll go back up to the rotation in a second. But look at this, in Montrose, in Seacliff. Ooh, look at that. This is radar indicated, so take it with a grain of salt, but it does look like 70 plus miles per hour as far as base velocity goes. And this is a little bit further away from the radar, so this is sampling a little bit further up in the storm, not right at the surface. So I would guesstimate around 70 mile per hour wind gusts in this system. Let's go back. I'm trying to figure out how to turn off this situation here because it's kind of blocking our analysis. Let me see if I can. I think that might be a permanent feature, but I can still see the rotation here. Does look like it's moved onshore, crossing Highway 98. So this is a quick mover here. Does look like it's crossing Highway 98 towards Daphne. John, I think this is a permanent feature.
Near as I can tell, I'm looking for ways to get it off of there for you, and I'm not running up on any right now.
I think it pops up, it just kind of comes with our system. And what it is, I'll explain what it is. It's just our system is tracking rotation. And it's doing a good job. It's showing you exactly where the rotation is, which is over Daphne, but it's just kind of blocking my way of streets. Ah, there we go. Oh, I just had to, hold on. There we go. Wilson Avenue, Randall Avenue, Lock Lane, Pollard Road. That's where it intersects 64, right where Target is. Chick-fil-A is there too. Well Road.
I'm going to take control for just a moment
Sure.
and see if I can eliminate that. It's trickier than it looks.
I'll continue to call out.
How's that?
You got it. Thank you, John.
Okay.
All right, so what we're looking at here, it's actually further south. That really helped getting that thing off the screen so I can see exactly where the rotation is. It's currently just east of Stanton Road. So it looks like it's crossed Highway 98. This is in Daphne. Just crossed Highway 98 south of Daphne Avenue. West of Pollard Road, north of Fairhope. So it does look like this is kind of currently over some trees and woods, but Montgomery Street's right here, Armstead Avenue, Conway Street there. This is heading towards Pollard Road. So you know Pollard Road stretches really across Daphne. Ooh, let's see. Kind of jumping around here. Looks like possibly a secondary rotation, John. To the east towards Stapleton Lane.
Yeah.
Because this is what we were tracking back here. But it does look like we could see another bit of rotation spinning up.
Try throwing the shear swath on there and see if it shows anything for us, or the shear rate. Yeah?
Yeah. Just check this quickly. Okay. Okay, so in addition to we're seeing bits of rotation, and within this tornado warning, we are still seeing very strong winds moving into Baldwin County. Whether or not we're seeing a tornado on the ground, we are still seeing very, very strong winds in this area crossing Highway 98 now. We will go back to our base winds so we can kind of sample these for you here.
Well, you can't see anything from Daphne's Infirmary East, but it's an interesting picture nonetheless because
okay, we'll check that
you've
out.
got lightning and blinding rain.
Okay, these are winds up to around 70 miles per hour guesstimating given the distance from the radar. So really strong winds regardless moving into Baldwin County.
Your estimate is very good. They just recorded a 67 mile per hour gust on a personal weather station near Scenic 98 and Highway 104.
This is the view from Daphne Infirmary East from our Foundation Repair Camp. Blinding rain there, as you can see. John, are we looking at the mall here? I can't even tell.
Yeah, we actually are looking over the mall toward what would be downtown Daphne, but you just can't see any of it.
Right. You've seen blinding rain, lightning too. These storms have been prolific lightning producers. I mean, this morning we were getting just a light show on our camera network with some coastal storms. So lightning, thunder, these are really multi-threat storms that we're seeing. Not only are we seeing the rotation, but we're also seeing 60, 70 mile per hour winds, really intense rain rates of 6 to 7 inches per hour. So that is something that we're keeping an eye on in addition to the rotation that we're seeing. Let's go back to the radar here. And if you're just joining us, we are going to kind of go big picture again, just to get our bearings of where we are.
While you are doing that, let me throw in that we do have a damage report from Mobile and the earlier tornado that we were talking about, 4 miles northeast of the regional airport. Tree damage reported in the Princeton Woods neighborhood.
Yeah, so that was the earlier tornado warning. That's different from this one. The tornado warning that we saw stretched from the airport up towards Saraland in Pritchard and up towards Satsuma as well. So that's what John's talking about. It was a confirmed tornado, and so it did in fact produce damage. And we were looking at our product that tracks debris being lofted by a tornado, and we did see that. So looking at damage reports there. But starting with the big picture of things here, if you're just joining, we are tracking did they expire the severe thunderstorm
I
warning?
was just about to interrupt you there. That happened just seconds ago.
Okay.
The severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire, but the tornado warning remains in effect.
I am a little bit surprised by that because we're still seeing really intense winds there.
It is certainly a bowed segment right there,
we just
stretching
sampled
from
around
Daphne and Spanish Fort down to about Foley.
Where was the 70-mile-per-hour observation?
That was, hold on a second, let me get that for you.
Sorry, I know you probably just...
No, that's all right. Scenic 98 and Highway 104.
So that was Baldwin County.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're still seeing some really intense winds. Just because they expired the warning, I wouldn't let your guard down.
You're right about that, and possible 80-mile-per-hour winds now approaching Silver Hill.
They must be issuing a new one.
Yeah, so that's
We'll have to
within the
see.
next couple of minutes.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. It does look like these strong winds are currently, and we'll get back to the rotation in a second, these strong winds are currently over County Road 13, Bell Forest, State Highway 181. That runs to Eastern Shore Center, the mall there, up towards Daphne. And we are seeing a couple areas of rotation. They're hard to pick out. It's a little messy, but this tornado warning is in effect for 30 more minutes until
and
10:15.
I'm with you. I think the severe thunderstorm warning will likely be regenerated to
Right.
the east of where it was initially, but we'll wait and see on that.
Yeah, we'll wait and see on that. I'm going to go back to our storm relative velocity, and let's see. Okay, just kidding. Sorry, we have a producer talking in my ear. She's saying that they are sending the weather beast to the damage reported near the airport. So that's what John was talking about as well. And if I'm seeing this correctly, it does look like we're seeing an accident on Moffett Road, I-65 south before exit 5B at Moffett Road. And it does look like some lanes are shut down there. So just communicating that information if you're driving in that location. Okay, so as far as the rotation goes, oh, it looks like those winds died off a little bit, but still very impressive. As far as rotation goes, it looks pretty broad at this time. I'm going to put it in motion. Let's see. There's a couple areas. There's a couple areas that I'm tracking here. And I'm kind of analyzing this with every scan that comes in. But it does look like a little bit of rotation near Barlow Road approaching 59.
I would agree, but it's
broad.
It's broad. What we're seeing is likely going to be high winds at this point, unless this pulls together again.
I would say it's pretty broad, and maybe a bit of rotation off towards the west here, near Highway 81, near Malbus. This is right where the mall is, there. But as John said, I think the main threat with this storm now is going to be the winds, unless something else spins up. So let's go back to base velocity here. Ooh. Okay, so this is what you're seeing here is me, but also on the right side of your screen is I-65 South. This is the wreck I was talking to you about, the accident. This is before exit 5B at Moffett Road. So this is near Spring Hill Avenue. It does look like, Simone, are the lanes shut down there, it looks like?
2 lanes are closed.
2 lanes are
tells me.
closed there. It looks like crews are on the scene, but it looks like a pretty intense accident there. And I'm certain there's going to be a backup, and it's raining, which doesn't help, and there's high winds. So if you're traveling in this area along I-65, the rotation, the tornado warning has been expired for that area. Just seeing heavy rain and high winds at this time.
All right, and here's where we stand with the situation in Baldwin County right now. The tornado warning remains in effect for that area of Baldwin County that's outlined there. And this could still produce tornadoes and almost certainly some very high, maybe damaging winds.
Yeah, with these bowing segments, as we call them, if you missed it earlier, the shape here is what we're looking at in this line of storms that's moving through. And it looks like a bow and arrow, right? And so that means that the winds are stretching out ahead of the storms and really producing some really strong winds. I mean, we saw a report of around 70 miles per hour with this system. So even if you're not in the tornado warning, I mean, these winds are a real threat here along these bowing segments is what we call these, or a bow echo that we call it as well. You'll likely hear that. But with these types of situations, tornadoes can spin up and then spin down. So I do think that the reason why the tornado warning is still ongoing, even though the rotation is pretty broad, is for the chance that it could spin back up. So that's what we're going to be tracking over the next 30, 25 minutes or so. I do want to check on rain rates because it was mentioned that we were seeing some reports of flooding. So let's look at rain rates quickly, then I promise we'll get back to the rotation and check to be sure it didn't tighten back up. But while it's pretty broad, let's go ahead and sample some of these. This is radar estimated. 7 inches per hour, northern Baldwin County. 7 inches per hour just north of Daphne. Approaching 59 as well, about ½ an inch per hour there. More of the same down towards Foley. So really prolific rain producers too. So keep that in mind. Not only are you getting damaging winds, you're getting likely rotation, you're also getting lots of rain. Lots of rain. And we've seen lots of rain already this week, so we could see some flooding mixed in here as another threat with these storms.
And so this would be approaching Loxley and Robertsdale. Matter of fact, it's probably right on top of Robertsdale now, with very high winds and the possibility of a tornado that you likely will not see in all the rain that Caroline was just talking about.
Right. Still seeing pretty broad rotation here. Do you agree, John?
I agree.
Looks like pretty broad rotation, but like I said, I do think they're continuing that tornado warning because with this type of setup, tornadoes spin up and then they spin down and then they spin back up and then they spin back down. And we've seen that so far in this specific line of storm. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But even if you're not seeing a tornado, and like John said, in our part of the world, in these systems, they're going to be rain wrapped. You're not going to go outside and be able to see it, and you shouldn't. That is life threatening. Just be sure that if you are in this area, even if you're not seeing a tornado on the ground, you are seeing damaging winds. And these kinds of winds that we're seeing up to 60, 70 miles per hour could be as destructive, if not more, than an EF0, EF1 tornado, which is the kind that we normally see in our neighborhood. So you got to take the wind seriously too, in addition to the tornado warning.
And there are now extreme winds up to 80 miles per hour crossing Highway 59 near Robertsdale and south of Loxley, moving pretty rapidly east along Highway 90 east of Robertsdale and approaching Elsinore now within the next few minutes.
I wonder why there's not as, I guess they're just including it in the tornado warning?
I think so, because of the chance of spin up along this bow, or especially at either end of that bow. I would think that that's why they're holding the tornado warning. But 80-mile-an-hour winds, that's nothing to sneeze at.
That's intense. So that's what I was just saying, as well as these kinds of winds that we're seeing. Let me switch over products here. That these kinds of winds that we're seeing could be as destructive, if not more, than an EF0, EF1 tornado. So if you are, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you are in these locations, to get in that tornado safe place, because you could see flying limbs, things of that nature. So just be careful along the I-10 corridor, approaching Highway 59 and approaching Highway 90 as well, towards Robertsdale, Silver Hill. That's where we're kind of seeing the core of this really, really strong wind. So sampling this for you here. Again, keep in mind, the radar is in Mobile County. So when the radar is analyzing storms, it shoots up. And so it's this being this far away from the radar, it is sampling further up in the storm. It's not right at the surface, right where you are. But I would say 65, 70 mile per hour winds likely at the surface in this storm. That's approaching Highway 90. That's approaching Robertsdale. That's approaching Silver Hill as well. Let me get down in here. Barlow Road, Kendrick Road, Foreland Road there, about to cross Highway 90 towards, let's see, zoom out a little bit. Wilter Street, Silver Hill Avenue. Seeing some really, really, really strong winds there. Checking back with the rotation. Gotta go back to this product. Still seeing broad rotation. So what's happening is they have this as a tornado warning. We're seeing severe winds in this scenario with winds of up to 80 miles per hour. And with this type of setup, we could easily see a spin-up tornado or a really quick spin-up area of rotation, which is why the tornado warning is still in place. And this is a very populated area, which is why we're still on your TV. It is still very much a threat as far as winds go. I mean, 80 miles per hour can do a lot of damage in an area here. This is central Baldwin County, Loxley. It looks like the core of the really strong winds is from Loxley down towards Robertsdale. This is along Highway 90 there, south of I-10.
A couple of quick notes, Caroline. One is, if we could we check the correlation coefficient on that storm just to the southeast of Rosenton? Okay, that looks okay. That looks fine. The other thing that I need to point out is that our National Weather Service office in Mobile has been doing some maintenance and upgrading and changing things, and the National Weather Service radio may not be functioning when this storm gets into northwest Florida. So make sure that you have other ways. News 5 free weather app is a great one, but any app that you trust to give you warnings, you need to do that.
It does look like maybe a little bit of tightening here for a possible area of rotation right where County Road 62 intersects with County Road 83.
Yeah.
A little bit, not overly impressive, but still something we're going to keep an eye on as far as trends go. Shear picked up a little bit, which means it is starting to tighten a little bit here. Get rid of that. Let's see. If you're just joining us, thank you for tuning in. We are keeping an eye on really strong storms moving through Baldwin County. Now, this originated way back in Mobile County. So when it was near the airport over here in central Mobile County, spawned a confirmed tornado in Mobile County that stretched from the airport pretty much towards I-65, towards 165 near Saraland in Satsuma. And it's been generating lots of rain, up to 6-7 inches per hour as far as rain rate goes. Some flooding as well at University and Airport in Mobile County. This quickly crossed Mobile Bay. A water spout then moved onshore near Daphne, near the scenic 98 area between Daphne and Montrose. And now that tornado warning is continuing. We're not seeing any active, really good signatures of rotation, but what we are seeing at the very least, really strong winds in this segment here of storms. And it does look like some winds could be gusting to 70, 80 plus miles per hour. And at any time, the reason the tornado warning is still in place is because at any time these lines can spin up tornadoes very quickly. They can spin back down, then they can spin back up. So that is something that we're keeping a close eye on for just a few more minutes here. It looks like that broadened out, John, which is good. A little bit.
Yeah, there is certainly some wind happening in that area along Driscoll Road and stretching really along and mostly south of I-10.
Doesn't look super concerning there. I'm just checking out some products for myself real quick. So what we're looking at in shear rate, that's just a fancy term, and what that means is it's checking out how the winds are changing as you go up in the storm. So we're looking at the chance for some rotation here and there. Not seeing an uptick, which is good. That stayed pretty consistent. Oh, it looks like that tightened up just a bit. Let's zoom close in on those areas for you here. County Road 62, Lawrence, Mosley Road. If I'm calling out your street name or you're close, Cowpen Creek Road, over there south of I-10, you got to get in that tornado safe place. While a tornado might not be occurring at this moment, could spin up at any time, and at the very least, you're seeing 70, 80 mile per hour winds. John? Okay,
they are working up a severe thunderstorm warning, and I believe they are going to allow the tornado warning to expire soon. Okay. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. So that's the situation. We will be seeing, and you now see, the severe thunderstorm warning for a very broad area along that Boeing line of thunderstorms, and there may be some tornadoes in those zones.
And we're just getting reports of we have a live picture for you here of a overturned vehicle. This is I-65 at airport. Is what it looks like?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So an overturned vehicle. Is that the ramp?
Yeah, they're
The on-ramp to I-65 is what Simone's telling us. She's in our traffic command center keeping us updated on the traffic that often this weather causes. Unfortunately, some accidents occur, and we saw that at Moffett Road, that exit there before 5B, had some lanes shut down, and now we're looking at I-65 at airport there as well. It doesn't look like traffic slowed down too much, but that ramp is going to be blocked, at least a lane of it. All right, we'll get back to the radar, and of course, we're keeping an eye on the traffic. We're keeping an eye. The Weather Beast is headed out to some damage that was reported near the airport, Mobile County, as this line moved through there. But it does look like the National Weather Service kind of replaced this tornado warning because the main threat now are these damaging straight line winds. We're going to stay with this for just a couple more minutes to be sure nothing else spins up. Then we could probably get you back to your regularly scheduled programming. But we're going to stay with this just a couple more minutes because I'm not super comfortable, I'm not super confident that this line isn't going to spit up another area of rotation. So let's head over here. Okay, still looking broad, just going to keep an eye out for any areas of rotation stretching from Rossington to Elsinore. That's kind of the area that I'm looking at here. But what's going to happen is, even if we don't get another tornado or a tornado warning, this Boeing line of storms stretching from really Bay Minette down to Gulf Shores is going to continue to move almost due east. And it's moving pretty quickly. And it does look like it is starting to gust out maybe a little bit, which means it's going to weaken just a little bit, but we'll have to keep an eye on the trends there. But we've seen reports of wind gusts of up to 60, 70, 80 plus miles per hour, which can be just as damaging, if not more, than a tornado itself.
Right,
So,
and those extreme winds, 70 to 80 miles per hour, will continue along Highway 90 to the east of Elsinore, approaching Seminole. Anyway, the area along I-10 also could be affected by this. Damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, even far south of the strongest wind core, is going to affect areas as well. So a lot going on there. The tornado warning is continued for the time being. The tornado warning continues until the original expiration time of 10:15 for that area in southeastern Baldwin County. Movement is still east. Now it's at 40 miles per hour.
the line itself.
Yeah, right there, about 8 miles east of Robertsdale, 7 miles north of Elwood in there, but very rapid easterly movement.
Yes, so it looks like they're just keeping the tornado warning. Just one second. Okay, so we're just getting word from our production booth back there saying that we have a live picture from the Weather Beast. We've got our very own Shamani Baker there in the Weather Beast. We've got damage confirmed from that confirmed tornado that moved through. Shamani, what are you seeing?
Yeah, Caroline, photojournalist Nicholas Johnson and I are in the Weather Beast. We came out to Howells Ferry Road where we're in the Princeton Woods neighborhood. A tree has fallen on top of this house. I'm going to turn the camera around so you all can see what's going on here. As you can see, it's on the roof of that home right there. On the way here and through the neighborhood, we saw a lot of limbs and trees down, this being one. I don't believe anyone is inside the home. We were driving through the neighborhood. We had a neighbor come out and tell us, hey, there's a tree on top of a home over there, right on top of the roof. And here we are. It's a pretty large tree. We've been talking about those strong winds all morning, and this is just one of the effects of those strong winds that we've been seeing. I'm going to move the camera down just a tad so you can kind of see what's going on here. We had a producer asking us if there was a tree on the back part of the home. We're just seeing the front part. There may be other damage. We're going to get out here shortly and get out of the weather bee so we can see what's happening after we toss it back to you all. But for now, we're seeing this one tree on the front of the home, on top of the roof. It's kind of hanging off the side there. Further down, we're seeing more damage as well. Tree limbs, trees in the road, in front of yards. We will keep you updated on what we're seeing. Again, we've been talking about those strong winds all morning. We've been talking about those strong winds all morning, and again, this is just the effect of that. I'm going to move this over so you can kind of see down the road what's happening. Give me 1 second. Here we are. Let me zoom in just a little. Nick, will you drive a little bit further up so we can see what's happening down the road? Again, this is in the Princeton Woods neighborhood off of Howells Ferry Road. There's another tree right here that's been snapped in half. You can kind of see it laying on the ground. Stop right here. Thank you. So this is yet another tree in half, laying in front of someone's yard. Not on the roof this time, but still, we're seeing those strong winds kind of pick up those trees. Will you go down a little bit further, Nick, for me? Thank you. So this is another one. Again, we just got into the neighborhood, and so there's probably a lot more going on here. We're going to kind of move around so you can see what else is happening. If you're just joining us, you just got on, we saw a tree on top of a roof of a home. We saw another tree snapped in half. We're kind of moving around to see what else is happening out here. This is in the Princeton Woods neighborhood. This is on top of our weather bee, so you can see the camera. There's a 360 camera on top. So we're trying to look to see if there's any more damage out here. Again, we've seen a lot of trees, some flooding on the way into the neighborhood. And now we're just moving around the Princeton Woods neighborhood to see what else is happening here. Nick, if you see anything else, let me know. We're going to stop if we see something and let y'all see what's happening out here. This is off of Howells Ferry Road. Take this right here. Thank you. Again, we've been receiving a number of reports this morning. We also heard from our digital reporter, Summer, that people are without power. Over 1,000 people in Mobile County, over 8,000 in Baldwin County, so we've been keeping an eye on that as well. Now we're just looking for damage over in this neighborhood off of Howells Ferry. Okay, we're going to go back to that tree that we first saw that was on top of the roof. If you're just joining us, we're going to show you what that looks like. Give us a second here. We're going to turn the weather beast around. We're going to turn around here. In the meantime, like I said, you've heard Caroline and John talk about those strong winds. We're under tornado warnings over in Baldwin County, but we're seeing the effects here in Mobile County. In the meantime, we're going to toss things back to Caroline and John, but we're going to still look for that damage here in the Princeton Woods neighborhood off of Howells Ferry. Back to you guys.
All right, and we are still tracking a possible tornado in Baldwin County, but it is looking less and less like that is going to be the case. I think what you're going to see more than likely will be damaging straight line winds in this area along the segment of thunderstorms that is bowing out across parts of South Baldwin County, heading into Escambia County in Florida. So we'll take you down into that part of the world. Let's go ahead and get a little closer here and show you that the warning is still in effect for parts of Baldwin County, the tornado warning, but it will be allowed to expire 6 minutes from now. So the threat has lessened considerably of tornadoes. The problem is that the threat of thunderstorm winds of 60 to 80 miles per hour has not lessened, and that's why we now have this very large severe thunderstorm warning. But we will continue this coverage up until the tornado warning is taken away.
Hey, John.
Yes.
I've got some storm reports for you.
Fire away.
So we've got, this is in Mobile County. This is actually from Chief Meteorologist Ed Bloodsworth. Large limbs down at Orchard Drive and Tangerine Drive. He sent us a photo of that. Meteorologist Abigail Gillespie is talking about her power being out in Fairhope. And one more, it looks like flooding on Dunlap Circle and Marengo Drive. That is from our reporter Haley Kennedy.
Okay, let's check a couple of things here very quickly just to make sure that things are winding down as far as the tornado threat goes. So we will, let's move here. Let's see if we can get this thing to
large tree down 181 north of 104. That's in Baldwin County and Daphne. This is near the Church of His Presence. This is from our photojournalist Lee Atherton.
Okay, and the shear that you see now is lined up along the leading edge of that line of thunderstorms, and that's telling us that it is more likely becoming a straight line wind event very, very quickly. I want to get you in just a little bit closer still to what's going on here and switch over to the what we call storm relative velocity. It's just the Doppler winds in the upper part of the storm, and it tells us what direction they are going and how fast. And you can see this line right here. I mean, you can make out the fact that there is something going on here, and it is likely winds above 60 miles per hour, the way things have stacked up and with the reports that we've been getting from the ground. So,
hey, John,
yes, go ahead.
Check out a couple of things. Baldwin County Sheriff Office reports trees down on County Road 54. That's near the Bell Forest Cemetery.
Okay.
In Austin Road. Check out a Wilcox Road. That's south of I-10, kind of near Elsinore. Could see a little bit of rotation there.
All right. Let's get us down that way.
Kind of south of Gateswood is where
way
I'm
down
looking.
here. And see what we're looking at here. South of I-10, you say?
Or north of I-10, I'm sorry.
Okay, north of I-10. So that would be this area here. In fact,
A little bit.
I'll move us down a little bit and get in even closer, check out what's going on. So what we look for a lot of times is whether these reds and greens are touching. What happens is, and I need to move this just a little bit so you can see a little better what's going on. What happens is that the green is wind approaching the radar, right? So you have that going like this. The reds would be moving away from the radar, and what that tells you is that there is some sort of circulation there. Whether it is a tornado remains to be seen, but there is some sort of circulation in the upper atmosphere. It has been broader over the past several minutes, so not as obvious that there would be a tornado on the ground. But I'm going to check all of the things that we will check to see if that is the case. And we're not seeing debris being lifted up by the possibility of a tornado. So that is encouraging that it's likely straight line winds. Although, as Caroline pointed out, you don't want to mess with straight line winds in the 60 to 80 mile per hour range.
It does look like they are going to let the, as of now, the warning expire at 10:15, which is about a minute and a half.
Okay, let's move out to the standard picture of the radar, show you what's going on here. A line of strong thunderstorms really now stretching from Bay Minette, arcing out toward Pensacola, and then bowing back toward Gulf Shores with a tornado warning embedded in there, although the tornado warning probably 1 minute from being allowed to expire. The severe thunderstorm warning, Caroline, how long does that run?
The severe thunderstorm warning, let's see, runs until 10:45.
Okay, and we have also seen extraordinarily heavy rain with this storm system. So we may be seeing some flooding issues along roadways and also with creeks coming up out of their banks. It doesn't look like a major flash flooding event simply because these storms are moving fairly rapidly. So even though they're dropping 6-7 inches of rain an hour, they're not going to stay over you for an entire hour. So here's the situation as it stands right now. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect that continues for the next 30 minutes or so in Baldwin County. The main threat being damaging straight line winds. The tornado warning is going to expire just seconds from now. So we are going to return you to regular programming. We will stay on top of this. You'll have updates on WKRG.com. You'll have them on the News 5 free weather app. And of course, we will be monitoring the situation and breaking back into programming as needed. And we'll keep you up to speed with the weather beast and all of the technology that we can muster to make sure that you and your family stay safe. For meteorologist Caroline Carithers, for Shamani Baker, for the entire WKRG News 5 team, I'm meteorologist John Nodar. We'll see you again soon.